The night was thick with fog, swallowing the narrow streets of Hollow Creek like a living shroud. Streetlights flickered intermittently, their weak glow barely piercing the dense mist that clung to every surface. A cold wind whispered through the skeletal branches of dead trees lining the cracked sidewalks, carrying with it a scent that no one in this small town could quite place. A scent of something long buried, something forbidden. At the edge of town, hidden behind a rusted iron gate, coated in decades of peeling paint, lay the entrance to the old Marrow Tunnel. Local legend called it the Forbidden Tunnel, a relic from a forgotten era when the town was a booming coal mining hub. It was said that those who dared to enter never returned. Not because of the tunnel's collapse or poisonous gases. No, those dangers were real, but manageable. But because something else, something darker, lurked deep within. For years, Hollow Creek's residents spoke of the tunnel in hushed tones, passing down stories of vanished teenagers, hunters, even trespassing thrill-seekers who had ventured inside, only to disappear without a trace. The police were dismissive, chalking up the tales to superstition, but the fear was very real. Even the bravest locals knew better than to test their luck. Enter Jack Harper, a journalist whose obsession with unsolved mysteries had earned him a modest but loyal YouTube following. Jack was known for his relentless pursuit of truth, especially when the facts blurred with folklore. When he first heard about the Marrow Tunnel, it was during a late-night conversation with an old-timer named Gus, a former miner who barely managed to hold back tears recounting his brother's disappearance inside the very tunnel some 30 years ago. Jack was instantly hooked. What started as casual research quickly spiraled into a full-blown investigation. Digging through brittle newspaper archives, dusty town records, and faded photographs, Jack uncovered a troubling pattern. Over the last 50 years, dozens of people had gone missing in Hollow Creek, many last seen near the tunnel's entrance. The official reports were vague, often citing accidental deaths or unexplained disappearances. But the families told a different story, one of silence, intimidation, and fear. The deeper Jack dug, the more the story revealed a dark secret that no one dared to speak aloud. An underground network beneath Hollow Creek. The Marrow Tunnel was only the surface entrance to a vast labyrinth of disused mining shafts, some rumored to be linked to clandestine operations involving influential townsfolk. One name kept appearing in his investigation, Victor Langley, a wealthy industrialist whose family had owned the mines for generations. Officially, Langley's mines shut down decades ago, but unverified reports hinted that secret activities had continued underground, hidden from public eyes. Jack's sources whispered of illicit dealings, smuggling, illegal gambling dens, even darker trades rumored to flourish in the bowels of the earth. The Forbidden Tunnel wasn't just a relic, it was the gateway to a hidden underworld, and those who entered often paid the ultimate price. Determined to expose the truth, Jack prepared for his own descent into the tunnel. Armed with only a flashlight, a camera, and his unwavering resolve, he arrived at the rusted gate just before midnight. The air was heavy, suffocating, as if warning him to turn back. But Jack was no stranger to danger. As he forced the gate open, it creaked loudly, echoing like a death knell in the still night. His footsteps echoed against the damp stone walls as he entered the tunnel's maw, the beam of his flashlight cutting through the darkness like a knife. Minutes passed, then hours. Jack filmed every inch of the narrowing passageways, the skeletal remains of old rail tracks, rusted carts, and scattered tools hinting at the lives once lived here. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the drip of water and the faint, eerie hum of unseen machinery deep within. Suddenly, Jack's light caught something. A faint flicker of movement ahead. He froze. A shadow darted just beyond the reach of his flashlight. Heart pounding, Jack stepped cautiously forward, following the fleeting shape. His camera lens captured a graffiti-covered wall, scrawled with cryptic symbols and warnings. "Leave now. They watch. No one returns." Before he could react, the ground beneath him trembled slightly, and a distant rumble echoed through the tunnel. The temperature dropped sharply. Jack's breath came out in frosty clouds. Then, from the darkness came a voice. Low, distorted, barely a whisper, yet unmistakably human. Turn back, before it's too late. Jack's hands shook as he steadied his camera. Every instinct screamed at him to flee, but curiosity held him rooted to the spot. As he adjusted his focus, the beam of his flashlight flickered, then went out. Panic surged. The darkness enveloped him like a suffocating blanket. He fumbled desperately for spare batteries, heart thundering. Then, just as suddenly, the light snapped back on. Only the passage ahead was now completely flooded with an unnatural, pulsating red glow. Jack swallowed hard. The tunnel walls seemed alive, shifting, breathing, as though the very earth itself was warning him away. In the distance, a figure emerged, a man, or something like one, draped in ragged clothing, face obscured by a hood. Jack's voice caught in his throat. Who are you?" The figure raised a gloved hand, pointing deeper into the darkness. "Follow if you dare, but beware. Some doors, once opened, never close." Then the figure disappeared, swallowed whole by the crimson shadows. Jack's camera continued rolling as he took a hesitant step forward. Behind him, the tunnel's entrance slammed shut with a deafening crash. He was trapped. The air inside the tunnel was thick and stale, each breath Jack took tasting like damp earth and rusted metal. His flashlight's red glow flickered intermittently, casting eerie, contorted shadows on the jagged walls. Every step echoed louder than the last, as if the tunnel itself was listening, waiting. Jack's heart hammered in his chest, but he forced himself forward. The cryptic symbols he'd seen earlier seemed to crawl across the walls, glowing faintly in the pulsing red light. "They watch," one inscription warned. "No one returns." But Jack had to know. Minutes later, the passageway opened into a vast cavern, its ceiling lost in shadows so deep they seemed bottomless. Rusted pipes snaked along the walls, dripping blackened water into stagnant pools that shimmered with an unnatural sheen. Amid the gloom, faint echoes bounced off the rocky floor. Whispers, indistinct but urgent. Then, at the center of the cavern, Jack's flashlight revealed a scene that made his blood run cold. A circle of old mining carts surrounded a crude altar made of stacked stones. On it lay objects, some familiar, some unsettling: a broken pocket watch, a cracked porcelain doll, an old leather-bound journal, and what appeared to be fresh flowers. Nearby, scratched into the stone floor, was a name: Maya Jensen. Jack's breath caught. Maya was the latest missing person, a young woman who had vanished from Hollow Creek just weeks before. His camera zoomed in on the jagged letters, the rough edges still sharp, as if someone had carved them recently. Suddenly, the cavern's whispers grew louder, desperate, pleading. Jack spun around, flashlight scanning wildly. From the darkness, figures emerged. They were pale, gaunt, eyes hollow and pleading. "Help us," they whispered in unison. Jack staggered back, the eerie apparition crowding closer, their voices overlapping in a chilling chorus. Trapped, lost, forgotten. One of them stepped forward. A woman, her face hauntingly familiar. It was Maya. Her eyes locked onto Jack's, filled with a mix of fear and hope. "You have to leave. They're coming," she said, voice barely above a breath. Before Jack could ask who, the ground trembled violently. Dust rained from the cavern's ceiling. The red light shifted to a sickly green, casting grotesque shadows that twisted the faces of the apparitions. "They won't let us go," Maya whispered, her form flickering like a dying flame. Jack raised his camera to capture the moment, but it sputtered, then died. Darkness swallowed the cavern. Panic surged. Jack fumbled for his backup flashlight. A cold breeze swept through the tunnel, carrying a faint metallic scent. Blood. Ahead, a faint glow pulsed rhythmically. A deep thudding like a heartbeat echoing through the stone. Compelled by a mix of dread and determination, Jack moved toward the source. The passage narrowed into a shaft lined with rusted chains and iron gates, one of which hung ajar. Beyond it, the tunnel plunged deeper than any map had ever recorded, descending into an abyss where no light dared reach. Jack's skin crawled as whispers grew into screams, echoing from the depths below. Suddenly, a guttural growl reverberated through the shaft. The air turned ice cold. From the shadows emerged the figure from before, the hooded man. His voice was low, a rasp that seemed to crawl under Jack's skin. "You should not have come." Before Jack could react, the man reached into his coat and pulled out a rusted key, its teeth jagged and ominous. With deliberate slowness, the hooded figure slid the key into a lock on the gate, turning it with a grinding screech. The gate creaked open to reveal a spiraling staircase carved deep into the earth, a descent into the heart of the tunnel's dark secrets. Jack's flashlight flickered and died again. The last thing he saw was the figure stepping back into the shadows, vanishing like smoke. Jack took a tentative step forward toward the staircase, but suddenly the ground beneath him gave way. He plummeted into darkness, the world spinning as he crashed onto cold, wet stone. Groaning, Jack pushed himself up. Before him stretched a vast chamber, lit by flickering torches set into the walls. But what caught Jack's eye was the giant mural covering the far wall. A twisted depiction of Hollow Creek's history, entwined with sinister symbols, shadowy figures, and a cryptic message in bold letters. The truth lies beneath, but so does the price. Jack's phone buzzed violently in his pocket. A message popped up on the cracked screen. "You have awakened what should sleep." His blood ran cold. What has Jack stumbled upon deep beneath Hollow Creek? Who or what has he awakened? And will he survive to tell the tale? Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. Jack's breath came in ragged gasps as he stared up at the mural, its twisted images burning into his mind. The flickering torchlight cast grotesque shadows, making the painted figures seem to move, whispering secrets that clawed at the edges of his sanity. He had ventured into the heart of Hollow Creek's darkest secret, a hidden underworld where the line between the living and the dead blurred. The silence was broken by a low rumble, and the cavern began to shake. Dust rained from the ceiling, and the air grew thick with a metallic scent of blood and decay. Jack knew then that the warnings were not mere superstition. The price mentioned in the mural wasn't metaphorical. It was real, and it was coming for him. Suddenly, shadows detached themselves from the walls, coalescing into twisted, grotesque figures. The lost souls trapped by the tunnel's curse. They circled Jack, their hollow eyes pleading for release, yet filled with an otherworldly hunger. Jack's camera flickered back to life for a fleeting moment, capturing their ghostly forms before dying again. The hooded figure from before appeared silently behind the apparitions. His voice cut through the chaos like a blade. "You seek truth, but truth is a chain that binds." Jack realized the key was not just to escape, but to break the cycle, to free the souls trapped in eternal limbo. With trembling hands, Jack searched the altar again, recalling the broken watch, the journal, the flowers, tokens left behind by those lost. Flipping through the journal, he found a final entry. To escape the tunnel, one must face the darkness within and offer what was taken. Only then will the path be freed. Heart-pounding, Jack understood. The tunnel demanded a sacrifice, not necessarily of blood, but of memory, of pain, of secrets buried deep within. He closed his eyes and whispered the names of the lost, Maya Jensen, Gus's brother, and the countless others. A piercing scream filled the chamber as the spirits writhed and the walls shook violently. Then, silence. Jack opened his eyes. the spirits were gone. The oppressive weight lifted. The spiraling staircase behind him was no longer blocked. But as Jack turned to leave, the ground trembled once more, and a deafening crack split the air. The tunnel's entrance collapsed, sealing the path back to Hollow Creek forever. Trapped, alone, with only his camera and the echoes of the forgotten. Jack's last footage captured his terrified face as he whispered, "The truth is more dangerous than I imagined, but I swear, I will find a way out." Thank you for joining this harrowing journey into the forbidden tunnel that no one returns from. If you want more chilling, true crime tales with twists that will keep you on the edge of your seat, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. What do you think happened to Jack? Could the tunnel still hold more secrets? And what dark truths lie beneath the surface of the places we think we know? Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.